We'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Doctorate of Ministry Program Overview for 2016. This overview is designed to help the potential student who is looking for a place to do their Doctorate of Studies to come and to be a part of. We want to welcome you to Hood Theological Seminary. It is a diverse community where you can come and share your hopes and dreams for yourself and your congregation. As we look at this PowerPoint this morning and walk through it, I hope that you'll get a better understanding of our program here at Hood. The starting step for the doctoral ministry program are these. To get started, you have to first go through the application process. You can either do that online using our program at our website, or you may you fill out an application in a hard copy form and mail it to us, along with the necessary 3 reference letters and transcripts that must come along with it. Those details are listed on the website. Also, in getting started, you need to be accepted into the program. Once you've applied and sent your application in, then we will have our admissions committee look at your application and see if you meet the requirements for admission into our program. The requirements for admission are a 3.0 within your master's degree, and then also we require that you have 3 years between your master's degree and your doctoral program, beginning of the doctoral program. Then you take part in registration. You must formally register before you can enter the program itself. And then in August of each year, and in this year, 2016, we had orientation for the new students coming in, as well as an orientation for Core Seminar 3 students who are in their 2nd year of the program. Core Seminar 1 is the first seminar that you would be taking as you enter the program. This seminar is revisioning ministry. It's looking at your context of where you're in ministry and looking at the biblical and theological rationale for doing ministry there in that local setting. Core Seminar 1 meets in classes on the 2nd Mondays of September, October, November, and December. And this is each fall of the year. It is a 3-hour course, and the classes go from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock on these Mondays. Revising or revisioning ministry is a seminar designed to enable students to examine their understanding and practice of ministry in light of cultural conditions where they're ministering. To assist them in doing this, the seminar required reading from the Bible, the life and the thought of the church throughout its history, looking at autobiographies and biographies and trends and theological articulation. The cohort meets together on those Mondays to discuss the readings and go over them, and then papers are written as a part of this core seminar. At the end, the student will be required to turn in a revisioning ministry paper of no less than 20 pages and no more 25 pages that will define the student's understanding of their ministry. This sets the base and the foundation for the doctoral work which will follow. The first intensive week comes along in January of your first year. You will take 2 electives. If you have come in under one of the specialization programs, which we'll talk about in just a minute, then you would be taking electives in those particular areas. You take 2 electives in January during that week. The week begins on Monday and runs to Friday. And during that week, you have a course in the morning from 8 o'clock till 12 o'clock, and then in the afternoon after a lunch break from 1 o'clock till 5 o'clock. Core Seminar 2 begins in the spring of the year, your first year in the program. The title of this course seminar is Personal Transformation for Effective Ministry. It meets on the second Mondays of February, March, April, and May from 9 to 5, just like Course Seminar 1. It too is a 3-hour seminar. Course Seminar 2, in this seminar, students will be expected to identify and understand the personal patterns developed over their journeys thus far. They'll take an inner look at their patterns that frame their self-perspectives and their own personal relationships. In the process of becoming more fully aware of the factors that have formed their sense of identity, students will be better equipped to expand and enhance the capacities to provide effective pastoral care to God's people. During this seminar, it is designed to create a space for self-discovery as students explore their own personal impact of negotiating the wide range of stresses and demands in the ministry where they are. Intensive number 2 occurs in July of your first year. In this intensive, there are 2 electives again, one in the morning, one in the afternoon during the week. Typically, this July session is the second week in July. Also, during the July intensive, you will be taking a required course, which is the research course, preparing you for Course Seminar 3, which will come up in the fall of your first year, or your second year, sorry. On Monday in August, there's an orientation for Course Seminar 3, and for the new students as well coming in, Course Seminar 1. Course Seminar 3 is the project colloquium. This takes place in your fall of your second year. The classes meet again on second Mondays in September, October, November, and December. During this colloquium, we'll talk about in just a moment what it's designed for. The purpose of this course is to help students understand the required components of the DMin project. You're beginning now to formulate that project and look to presenting and implementing that project within your congregational setting. In the process, you will complete a prospectus as well as a project topic and aspect of ministry statement. The colloquium is a practical how-to course to develop one's project, and this course will be assigned, will assist the student in identifying the roles of the student minister, the peers, the colloquium leaders, the project academic advisor, the off-campus mentor, and the project reader. The course will also assist the student in understanding the required components of the project prospectus and the professional project. It'll help sharpen critical, theological, and analytical skills for completing the project. It will help to develop skills in writing clear and coherently and properly. It will also help to formulate a plan for the project to go to its completion. The project colloquium begins with an off-campus mentor selection. This is done in August prior to orientation. It also requires academic advisor selection, and then this person is selected to walk with you along with the mentor during the rest of your time within the working on your project. And then during the colloquium, you will get approval of your project prospectus and be ready to continue on. The final intensive time or week is in the second January of your studies, and here you take elective 5 and elective 6. There are 6 electives that are required, that are a part of the program, totaling 12 hours of electives. There are 9 hours of course seminars, and there are 33 hours within the total program. 2 required electives, as I said earlier. One of the ones is the research course, and it's done in the first year during the summer intensive. Then there's one other course that is required in terms of electives, and it's either a course that you take in theology and ethics, or either is one in biblical studies. You can do either or, theological and ethics or biblical studies. That course, along with the research, are the 2 required courses. After you've taken the 3rd set of intensive courses, you're done with your coursework. And then we move into the service of candidacy. Typically, it's done in the month of March in the spring of your 2nd year. The professional project begins with project research. It is the research that you're doing for setting up and implementing the project that you will be leading within your community setting and ministry setting. You move from the project research phase to the planning phase. In this phase, you're planning details of when and how and where to do things. Then you move into the project action phase, which is when you begin your implementation. You begin doing the project and setting the project up. Fourthly, you begin writing a preliminary report. This preliminary phase report is when you're beginning to collect and pull your data together from the research and from the actual implementation and the actions of the project. And finally is the writing phase of the project. And in this phase, you're writing your professional paper, which is a paper between 80 and 180 pages in terms of the actual content of the paper. It is describing the work that you've done. It is also a biblical and a theological basis for understanding of why you've done this particular project and how it will now impact your church and your congregation. This is kind of a scenario of the professional project. Once the project is finished and the professional paper has been written, then the candidate will submit their paper. This is done in the 3rd year of the program. February 15th is the deadline for papers to be submitted if you plan to graduate in that particular year. When the paper is submitted, then a reader is selected for the paper. The reader will take it and in a designated amount of time will begin reading and looking at the paper critically so that the reader can give input and evaluate the paper along with the student. Oral evaluation takes place typically in the month of March, the 3rd year, in the spring of the year. Sometimes it moves on into April, depending on how quickly the paper gets read. The oral evaluation is made up of a committee. The committee is your academic advisor, which was selected back your 2nd year as you entered the project colloquium. Also the mentor, which was selected then. And these 2 have been working hand in hand with you as you prepare your project, implement your project, and then write your paper. Along with them, your reader joins at the end where we've just talked about. These 3 persons make up your committee, the oral evaluation committee, and will work with you in an evaluation to approve your project in the end. Written revisions are made. Once you've revised the professional paper, then comes a final approval and the acceptance of the project by the committee. Once this happens, there's an exit view that you will give online and an interview which you will do with the person as you exit the program. This happens in the 3rd year in the month of April as you prepare for this final day of graduation, the day that you've been waiting for, the day that you walk across the stage and and received a degree. For after 3 years of long, hard work, now you have completed the doctoral program. Congratulations. I hope that this PowerPoint overview is helpful to you, and I hope it gives you a little bit better understanding of our program here at Hood Seminary. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you, and I look forward to meeting you here on campus at our seminary.